All right, welcome to the final installment of the Fragment of Silicon reviews for the season.
Woo!
Yes, season 2023, or was it 20? Yeah, it's 24. Sorry, no, 23 now, 24 next time. Like, you know, so a lot of numbers running on right now. So bit blurry,
Mathematics, how does it work?
usually by counting. Like, anyway, yeah, final set of reviews for season 23. Um, the first of which is R-TypeDimensionsIII. Okay, so this is. I'm not going to recount the entire history of R-Type.
Because we'll be here for the next decade.
Not that long, but I do think the
Also, Naka
abridged.
already did it.
It's,
Right, but I'm not sure how much of our audience left, watches not. Like,
Yeah, but we can point
look,
them in that direction.
fair enough, fair enough. But yeah, I suppose the condensed version is R-Type is a series, one of the seminal horizontal spaceship shooters of the 80s. It's really R-Type and Gradius that defined, what a horizontal spaceship shooter is.
And yes, horizontal versus vertical makes a pretty big difference, actually.
Yeah. There's a whole different lineage. There's a whole different line. There's a whole different everything. So, um, like I said, it's a whole history that we don't have time to get through. But suffice it to say, R-Type Dimensions 3 is the third one. Not counting like spin-offs and connected games like the Image Fight series. Also of note is R-TypeDimensionsIII is the first console R-Type. R-Type 1 and 2 were made for arcades, and then later brought to home systems. That actually does make a difference in the actual game, and specifically the level design. Because, like, there are less overall levels than the arcade ones, but they're longer. Once again, it reflects the divide between the two style. And, as mentioned recently, it portended why console gaming was going to take over um, from arcade games. And R-Type 3 is also an R-Type game that hasn't seen a whole lot of re-release. Outside of this modern version, we have had a Game Boy Advance port, which, from what I understand, suffered from being a Super Nintendo game ported to the Game Boy Advance, so screen crunch, along with just not being a very good port, which is unfortunately a running theme. Um,
mm,
Also, this got a virtual console release. And before I continue, my own personal history with R-Type is not with this game. I never played R-Type 3 back in the day. I certainly read about it in like Nintendo Power and the like. I knew about it, but R-Type 3 was a lot rarer to find than Super R-Type.
oh, yeah.
Like,
It was very. It didn't get a wide release in the States, didn't it?
it got a wide release, but not as wide a release as Super R-Type. Super R-Type is one of those games.
Mm.
I mean, one of those games that was like plugging every rental store and bargain bin. I think we got Super R-Type on the cheap, but that's the R-Type game I have experience with. In terms of the childhood. like R-Type 1 completely missed because never hit the NES. Never hit a Nintendo system until the Game Boy Color, of all things. Released on the Master System, released on the TurboGrafx 16, but statistically, if you're a kid who owned a game system in the early 90s and hadn't upgraded to like a Genesis or a Super Nintendo yet, what are you going to own? A Nintendo Entertainment System, right?
Right.
So, of course, you do have one of the, it was one of the hottest arcade properties going at that time. But I believe because of technological reasons, it never hit the NES. Point is, Super R-Type is the one I played, and it's also where I developed a rather healthy and robust loathing of R-Type games. That's because I can't stand their checkpoint system, in that they have a checkpoint system. Like, very briefly, R-Type believes in, if you die, and of course you will die, instead of having your ship respawn instantly like Gradius. No, like you're going to start at the beginning or at a midpoint. And to get back to R-Type 3 here, that is another difference between the arcade R-Types and this one. Like, if I'm remembering correctly, like I think you only got like one midpoint, and like Super R-Type was really stingy with that. That might have been the one, maybe even like starting you at the beginning. Like, I just remember that being stodgy with the checkpoints. And, there are some arguments for and against. I don't like the Lost Work. Never have, never will. Especially since, I grew up playing the Gradius game on the NES. Gradius and Life Force, we don't need to go down that lane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so Super R-Type 3 here, Petty, change it to Infinite.
Yeah.
Like I said, this game is going to murder you and murder you quickly.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played it.
That's how you get more gameplay time.
Yeah,
That's how the arcade gets more quarters.
it's a bit different here. Because if you've been paying attention to the narrative I've been building here, this game isn't being played by arcade rule. It's being played by console rule. Like, also, here's a feature lifted from the Gradiest games, done in their own idiom, but still, like being able to select, like your upgrade path. That is something that was seen in Gradius 2 and 3. But okay, the ethos behind this game is, well, the ethos behind a lot of shmup. Memory. You're expected to learn the game. And this being the console shmup, you're expected to plunk down, $50, $60, whatever it is. And I'm talking about prices at the time. Like, because, spoiler alert, this game has gotten expensive over the years.
Oh, yeah.
So, the point is, this was a game that was going to last you weeks, months, maybe even years. Because, not just this game, not just this franchise, But shmups are notorious for being brutal. And this is before rewind. This is before save states. This is before everything. So, what do you have to do to get good? You have to play the game.
Over and over and over again.
Yep. That's how you
These
get
games
your
are actually mostly scripted, so you actually can get good via memorization.
Right.
Yes. In fact, you were expected to. That is my point here. And, in fairness to R-Type here, it's brutal, but it's not meant to be, cheap brutality. We only put 4 stages in, and it's really short if we didn't kill you every 5 seconds.
Hmm.
Plenty of 8-bit, 16-bit games did that. It's generally recognized, especially these days, to be a form of, very poor development practice.
Yeah. The artificial difficulty curve.
Yeah. Even in good games, you see this. Especially since this is a child of the mid 90s and difficulties got spiked upwards. Especially if you're making a game for the West or translating a game for the West, because rental. We have documented evidence in quite a few cases of, games just getting more difficult for us because they didn't want you to beat it in a rental period.
Because rentals were illegal in Japan, at least for a long ass time.
Yes. But they weren't, they tried, they failed.
That's just
So,
some context for the viewers because not everyone realizes that rentals were illegal in Japan.
yes. Um, anyway, point being, you had to, you were expected to spend hours and hours and hours and hours on a game like this until you had it down. But since we live in the modern world, you don't have to do that because Petty is displaying really one of the few features of this new version. Um, and that is what they're calling infinite mode. Now, and try to guess how this is going down with the shmup community.
They're fucking crying.
They're angry. They're very angry at this. Now, they're angry for a lot of reasons over this game. Some justified, infinite mode. Guys, it's a optional mode.
Yeah, like that's the very thing. I actually started in regular mode. Like, it's not the default. Grow up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Just because they added a new, easier difficulty does not mean your precious R-Type 3 has been shattered forever. Like, no, there are other reasons for that.
Yeah.
Um, oh boy. Okay. Because this game has already, like, there have been news articles about this game, how broken it was online. Now, we're actually reviewing this a bit far out from that.
I just saw a thing about version 1.01 was just released for, I guess, for context for anyone who comes across this later.
Yeah, I want to say they've released 2 patches. So all of like the things that were broken in this game, some of it has been fixed. Now, why I related my own history with this game and the lack thereof is because I cannot tell you the minute detail. I could not tell you where the hitbox of this enemy or that enemy is off, or the sound effect isn't playing here. I just do not have that experience, and we do not have the tools and materials to put stuff side by side.
Right.
So
Especially because I don't even know if Steam will let me get the old version because I just downloaded it today. So it doesn't have anything to roll back to. So if it's not still on Steam server, I can't roll back.
yeah, right. But one of the big issues that has definitely not been fixed, Petty, I will need you to go into the classic mode, which should be the Y button.
Oh, oh God, oh God, and hell no!
Thank you,
Why
because
did you make me do that?
because I needed to illustrate what they did to this game.
Commit a war
Just
crime?
in terms of porting this game over, pretty much. Because once again, I couldn't tell you all of the hardcore details, but even the lowest layperson will be able to tell you that widescreen is not good.
Not only the
Because
widescreen, the fucking CRT filter is probably the second worst I've ever goddamn seen.
yeah, the but I want to focus on the widescreen aspect.
And I guess
Because
of note for anyone wondering, I do play on a ultra wide, so it made that far worse.
right, but the point is, this is a Super Nintendo game, so that means 4:3 aspect ratio. That means it's supposed to be in a rectangle box. What they did is something that, this is a common error in the early Xbox 360 era.
Right.
Like, when they would just do widescreen, they would stretch it out.
Well, and
So
to
everything
be fair, at least for the 360, it did have an option for 4:3. 16:9 wasn't the default until later in the 360's life. So some of the early ones get kind of a pass because they didn't know how that was supposed to work. But yeah,
you get my point, right?
yes, we're not in that
Like
transition anymore.
this shouldn't have happened.
A joke I
Like,
use very often is this has been a solved problem for decades.
yeah, like you either have to put in the work to make all of the graphics, match the new aspect ratio, or you don't do it. You just leave it 4:3.
Right.
Like, so it's just, it's intolerable. And on the flip side here, the problem with the hitboxes is in the 3D space.
Oh God, what the fuck is this?
That's the problem with the hitboxes. Yeah, in most places, I couldn't tell you where the hitboxes were screwed up. This boss,
Yeah,
oh
that's kind
god.
of the problem with doing this with models instead of like pixels.
Yeah,
I mean, you can work around it, and they clearly haven't done a very good job of that here. But inherently, the higher detail makes things a little bit easier to miss bits of.
but yeah, the hitboxes are so messed up on this boss that, once again, even the casual fan's gonna notice it. Because, also because I think it's slower because it's in 3D. But just like I said, baseline stuff was messed up here. And
Am I trapped? I can't hit this boss.
okay, what you have to do is you have to align your shot with that eye. And you have to go up and down.
I'm
It's just,
lining it up with it. It can't go through because I guess I'm with the basic bullets.
like you have to charge it up, I think. Like, I mean, you've got infinite lives, so don't worry about it. You know, but just yeah, this like it's no wonder people are went volcanic over this. Because R-Type 3 is not the most beloved R-Type game, but I think one of the more beloved R-Type games. Like,
Mm.
and to see it massacred like this is just unconscionable.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the developer, or at least, I honestly don't know how the development structure of this game worked because,
Fine
so
if you
this
don't
game
know.
was published by Inning Games, but they got Tosai Games involved in this. And if you don't know who that is, they're the company that developed R-Type Dimensions for the Xbox Live Arcade way back in the day. We're talking 2009
Mm.
here. Which was notable for like being one of the first games to do the transitional retro remake thing.
Mm-hmm. Hit a button, get
They
old
did.
graphic style.
Yes, it's definitely one of the first I remember seeing. Here are the new shiny graphics, and just literally by the touch of a button, here's the old. Um, and R-Type 1 and 2 were ported fine, like maybe not amazingly. It's been an age and a half since I played Dimensions, which is on Steam,
Yeah.
but I definitely remember it wasn't this. So that just leads me to believe that the actual listed developer on this, which is if I can get the proper like Kritzelkrantz 3000, German company, from what I understand. Like other works, like they worked on the recent port of Rainbow Cotton, for example. X Out Resurfaced. They've got some shmup history, but look, if this is the quality of their work, ooh, they're a big red flag walking forward.
Mm-hmm. Like,
You know,
just looking at my fucking hitbox through here, I've died 3 times trying to get around these damn walls. Because where the
yeah,
fuck is my hitbox?
or it could lie with the publisher. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if it's who to blame here. There's
Yeah.
3 companies. They could all, as far as I'm concerned, they can all share in the blame here because this was not ready for prime time.
Someone
And
fucked up, and I'm thinking it's more than one someone.
right, and to the point where they had to put out a post and apologize for the quality of this and say, they are going to fix it. They're gonna get, they're getting a whole new testers, and like I said, this game is actually in better shape now than it was, a month, like 2 months ago now, which is a scary thought, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like when it's still glaringly bad. Just all I can do is shake my head because
Mm-hmm.
um now if you want to play R-Type in the modern day, there are other options here.
Oh, I guess one thing I do like that they added a special button that's just rapid fire, so you don't have to tap.
Yeah.
I
Now,
thought I was gonna have to tap this thing. I was gonna be like, oh fuck, I'm gonna need to fix my controller again.
yeah. So now that we've gotten past the fundamental problems of the game, um, some other complaints have been the whole bare bones nature of the release, which I personally agree with. I mean, do keep in mind they did build a whole new, um, essentially game here. You know, with the new graphics, which had to be done for all of the enemies, all of the assets, and so on and so forth. And we're probably not talking about a big developer, so I could definitely see why there wasn't, this game wasn't given like the digital eclipse treatment or something like that. Why there was no documentaries or getting into the history of R-Type 3. But it's like I don't think that was like I don't think they did that on like R-Type Delta Reboosted either. Don't quote me on that because we didn't get that one. That was put out by different people. Anyway, but I get why people are grumbling about the price here, because this game is fucking expensive. Like, way too expensive for what's being presented here. And that, like, this game is going for, well, regular price is $35. I'm like, no. That is not a good price for them. Even if it weren't broken. Like, it's one game.
Yeah. If this was
It's
all 3 of the R-Type Dimension games, yeah,
no,
35 is fine. For just
yeah,
one of them? No.
yeah, like, no, um, to put it in perspective, you can get R-Type Final 2, for $40. That's just $5 more for a much more robust and feature-rich game.
Mhm.
Hell, the immediate sequel, R-Type Delta HD Boosted, is going for $24.99. That's $10 less. There is no reason why this game should be $34. And yes, I will note that it is currently on sale for $28. Thankfully we didn't have too many games to get through this month because of the break.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you would be looking at trailer footage. The point is, this is too expensive. Even if they fix it, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no. $20 max.
Yeah. Either $20 max or it needs to include it needs a dimension set.
Yeah. And there are extras in, like, they've got the Dimensions 3 remastered tracks, classic track, art books, and the Heritage art book, all for way too inflated prices as DLC. This is shit that should have been in the game.
Mhm.
Because, in some fashion,
Right.
this package is just too expensive. And once again, that's predicated on if they fix everything.
Mhm.
And they haven't. So, as it is, easy pass. Honestly, one of the worst games I played this year.
Mm.
Just a complete embarrassment, uh, that should not have been released.
Right.
Even in its current state, it's an embarrassment and a desecration of a classic. I'm kind of running out of ways to say avoid at all costs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else from you two?
I think I'm good. If you're saying anything, you're muted.
I'm going to assume he's not there.
Yep.
Then, all
Oh,
right then.
sorry.
So,
Sorry, I missed what you said. I don't really have anything else to say about R-Type, though.
Mm.
I think
all
you
right,
covered it pretty well.
very good. So yeah, that'll about do it for R-Type Dimensions 3 here. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Petty Fan will be reviewing The Merry Fairy.